this movie. I can't even be pissed. I can't even be mad at this movie because it's so goddamn pathetic. It's so brain dead, stupid bullshit. Stupid. I don't even know where to start. There's just so much to cover and talk about and rant. I apologize. As per normal, I'm probably going to go all over the place because I can't talk about one stupid without it being connected to a dozen other stupid. Okay, I'll start this way. When Spider-Man No Way Home came out, I made a rant video talking about, and I explained, and I had said how Spider-Man No Way Home is one of the most broken movies I have ever seen in my life. Apparently, somebody at Marvel Studios must have seen that, heard me say that, and went, "Hey, Jaded, here, hold my beer. We'll show you how much of a broken movie we can make." Hence, Quantumania was born. I swear to God, because this doesn't even make any, nothing makes, things happen in this movie because, and here's the weird thing. I liked the first two Ant-Man movies. This third movie was garbage. I had absolutely no interest in this movie. Here's the other thing. The reason I was kind of upset with how pathetically bad and stupid and full of brain dead stupid Spider-Man No Way Home was because I actually had faith and hope that it was going to be at least somewhat, passable, which it wasn't. With Quantumania, after seeing the trailer for it, it's like, yeah, I had no faith or hope in this movie. I had none whatsoever. And within 15 minutes of this movie, I think it was within half an hour of this movie, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I don't even care anymore. There's no point in even trying to hope for this movie. Kang the Conqueror. Oh, by the way, spoilers in case you haven't seen the movie and whatever. Kang the Conqueror gets beaten by ants. That's how this movie ends. Kang the guy, the supervillain that's supposed to be the next Thanos, gets taken out by giant ants. Kang the Conqueror, who according to this movie has killed so many Avengers that they're all a blur, got taken out by giant ants. Kang the Conqueror, who apparently not only was able to take on Thor, but killed Thor, was taken out by ants. This is supposed to be the next big bad supervillain in the MCU, and I'm supposed to somehow buy this bullshit? Are you out of your mind? What? How brain dead moronic do you have to be as an audience member to see Kang the Conqueror lose to giant ants and go, yep, he's the new big bad in the MCU? You're out of your mind. The ants. Okay, I gotta talk about this. How the ants entered the quantum. How they entered the quantum realm? Oh my God! I have to start from the beginning. Okay. Cassie. Again, I can't talk about one stupid without it automatically leapfrogging to another stupid. Okay, hold on. Let me try and get some sort of cohesion going. Cassie built a microscopic Hubble telescope in a basement. How? You know what? There used to be a time in the MCU where somebody building an arc reactor in a cave with spare parts was actually a big deal, was a way of establishing that person was a genius. if they had a scene, if they made a movie today in 2023 in which Tony Stark built an arc reactor in a cave with spare parts, we as an audience would be going, yeah, okay, so what? Big deal. How is that supposed to be anything special? We have Ironheart. Hey, Tony, you building an arc reactor in a cave with spare parts? Why is that a big deal? Ironheart, I forget the character's actual name because I don't really give a damn about Ironheart. Ironheart built a vibranium detector without actually needing vibranium to even know that it could detect vibranium. Not only that, she built it so that it could withstand the depths of the ocean, even though there's literally no reason for her to have built it to withstand the depths of the ocean, because there's no reason for her to have thought that you would have to go to the depths of the ocean to be able to find vibranium, because the only place that she knew vibranium existed was in Wakanda, and Wakanda is not under the ocean. And by the way, she built a vibranium detector without the need of having vibranium because her teacher told her she couldn't do it. Tony Stark needed to build the arc reactor to build the Iron Man suit to save his life, to be able to get freedom. Ironheart built a vibranium detector because of a dare, because she had nothing to do that weekend. Then in this movie, we have Cassie, who has no engineering skills whatsoever. They don't do anything to establish engineering capabilities, any type of schooling. But because she read notes that Hank wrote about the quantum realm, which, by the way, was incredibly limited, by the way. Like, it's incredibly limited. But because she read the notes that Hank wrote about the quantum realm, Cassie was somehow able to build a microscopic Hubble telescope that can send a signal to the quantum realm because she read Hank's notes. We don't even have Reed Richards in the MCU yet. Reed Richards is supposed to be one of the penultimate geniuses in the MCU. What the hell is he going to do or build that we as an audience are going to go, yeah, so what, Reed? No matter what he builds, we can go Cassie, who has absolutely no formal education of any kind whatsoever, never even went to engineering school as far as we know, was able to build a microscopic Hubble telescope that could send a signal to the quantum realm. Beat that, Richards. This is insane. This is now here's the thing. She built a device that sends a signal to the quantum realm. Okay. How does it end up causing that? How does the device that sends a signal to the quantum realm somehow open up a warp to enter the quantum realm? I don't know. Neither does the goddamn movie. Because you think to justify that the way the signal was able to be converted to a gate to enter the quantum realm had something to do with Kang the Conqueror and doing something to use and to manipulate the signal to make it into a gate. Except here's the thing. Kang the Conqueror didn't discover the signal. Modoc did. The movie can't even use the bullshit justification that Kang was the one that did it. Not only that, why would Modoc is designed to kill things? That's its only reason for existing. It is built to kill things. So why the hell would Kang decide, hey, I'm going to install a device that allows Modoc to detect if there's any signal entering the quantum realm. Because? But even given that, how the hell did Modoc convert the signal device into a gate? It was because since it was Modoc who discovered the signal, and after about 5 seconds, it gets converted into a gate, Modoc had to have been the one to have done it. How does Modoc have the ability to convert a signaling device into a gate? Well, the movie doesn't know, and the movie's basically hoping you're too brain dead stupid to realize that there's no way Modoc could have been able to do that. Because at the very least, they would be hoping that you would think or assume that Kang did it. Except even that doesn't work, because here's the problem. Kang doesn't have the ability to manipulate time or space to be able to even have done what he did. Why? Because guess what? You know how I know this? Because throughout the movie, Kang never actually manipulates time or space. Because if to try to understand this, they introduced the big bad and not give him the power set that makes him the big bad. Because if they gave Kang, who has the ability to manipulate time and space, the actual ability to manipulate time and space, then the movie would have been over about a half an hour into the film, and Kang would have won. So they actually have to have it so that Kang can't actually have the power set that makes Kang the big bad that he is. This is... Then we have Modoc himself, and it's like, why the hell is he even in this movie? Who is Modoc for? It's not for the general audience, because the general audience don't know who Modoc is. You got the MCU. Okay, Marvel has the three biggest demographics for Marvel movies is the general audience, who don't read comic books and don't know who Modoc is anyway. The MCU fanboys, who don't know and don't care about Modoc. As long as the movie has the Marvel logo at the beginning, they're fine. And then you have the third largest demographic, which is the fake comic book fanboys, and they don't know who the hell Modoc is. You want to know how I know they don't? This is what I love about the fake comic book fanboys, and I gotta segue. This is gonna be a rant on its own, but I gotta get this out. The fake comic book fanboys, they don't know who Modoc is. You want to know how I know? Because their only complaint about the lack of comic book accuracy in regards to Modoc is that in the movie, Modoc's face is smooth, whereas in the comic books, Modoc's face is wrinkly. But here's the thing. The only reason these fake comic book fanboys even know that Modoc's face is wrinkly in the comics is because somebody posted a picture of it online. That's their only knowledge of comic books. It's the same. It's like with the She-Hulk TV show. They're all complaining about She-Hulk twerking, but none of these fake comic book fans were complaining about the lack of comic book accuracy of the Wrecking Crew, because they don't know who the hell the Wrecking Crew is, because they've never read a Marvel comic book and they don't know anything about the characters. Same thing with Modoc. They're complaining about the smooth face. Are any of these fake comic book fanboys complaining about the lack of comic book accuracy in that Kang created Modoc as opposed to AIM? Well, of course not. The reason they're not complaining about it is because nobody posted a picture online letting them know that it was AIM that created Modoc. Are these fake comic book fanboys complaining about the lack of comic book accuracy that Darren Cross is Modoc? Well, of course not, because nobody posted a picture online letting these fake comic book fanboys know that it was just some random AIM scientist that ended up becoming Modoc. Because that's the thing about you fake comic book fanboys. The reason I know you're fake comic book fanboys is because you constantly expose that you're fake comic book fanboys. Anyway, got that out of my system. Let's get back to the movie. So Modoc wasn't introduced for them. So who was it for? Actual comic book fanboys? Well, that doesn't work because actual comic book fanboys know that Kang didn't create Modoc, AIM did. Actual comic book fanboys know that Darren Cross isn't supposed to be Modoc. So all the movie did in introducing Modoc to actual comic book fanboys is to establish that Marvel doesn't give a rat's ass about comic book accuracy. So then again, what was the point of Modoc? Considering he ends up dying anyway, it's not like he ends up becoming a long-term character, so that was irrelevant. This is the thing about, again, sorry, another rant. Here's the thing about the lack of comic book accuracy. It's gotten to the point now where I look back and I am actually surprised that they even had Tony Stark build the original Iron Man suit in the cave. I mean, that level of comic book looking back, that level of comic book accuracy doesn't exist in the MCU for the last couple of years. Anyway, back to the original story point, which was, so MODOK somehow magically pulls out of his ass the ability to somehow make it so that the signal device can now open up a gate, and they all enter the gate. Now, here's the thing. Some ants entered the gate as well, except for some inexplicable pulled out of their ass bullshit, no idea what the hell they're doing, hack writing, 5th grade brain dead mentality bullshit stupid, the ants somehow get caught in a time dilation. How? Why? Well, the movie sure as hell doesn't know. And why would they? Like, why did the ants get caught in a time dilation, but not the humans, considering they all entered the gate the exact same way? But for some odd reason, the ants got caught in a time dilation, but not the humans. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that convenient, seeing as how what ends up happening with the ants? Well, speaking, okay, but because here's the thing, okay, this, God help me, okay. So according to Hank, because the ants were caught in a time dilation, every day was like thousands of years. First of all, how did the ants know that? How would the ants know that? Second of all, Scott and Hank and Hope and Cassie, they were in the quantum realm for what? Maybe a day? Maybe a day. So for every day, the ants lived thousands of years. Okay, so they were in the quantum realm for what? A day and a half at best? So the ants were in the quantum realm for maybe what? 3,000 years. So apparently in 3,000 years, these little ants somehow evolved into these giant ants and established a technological advancement and created a civilization. Hey, movie, just say magic. Just have it that the ants explain that they were able to evolve what they did because of plot armor and bullshit magic. Because that's all this is. It's like, how am I supposed to how am I supposed to hear that absolute pablum bullshit stupid and not go, this is ridiculous? So they end up getting into the quantum realm and it looks totally different. And Hank goes, well, why is it different now? Janet goes, you weren't able to look deep enough into the void or something. And it's like, how does she know? What, just because she was in the quantum realm for 30 years, she suddenly learns and figured out and understands how the quantum realm works on all its various levels? How? We live in our real world universe. And a lot of us have been living in this real world universe for pretty much all our lives, right? Well, guess what? We don't know how the universe works, but apparently in the MCU, if you go to an alternate universe, you end up learning how it works by osmosis. Just say magic, movie. Don't even answer it. Just have Janet go, I don't know. When Hank, when they up landing, I think it's Hope that goes, why aren't we dead? What's Hank answer? I don't know. Just say I don't know. Because it's not like the audience cares. So if the audience doesn't even care, why even bother mentioning it? Okay, as an example, they all entered the quantum realm. And for some reason, they can all breathe. Now, before Hope even brings up the question, the audience is going, gee, I wonder why they're breathing. And then literally 2 seconds after they had that thought, they went, yeah, I don't care. They don't care why they're able to breathe. And then when Hank answers, I don't know, and it's never explained, the audience is going, yeah, okay, doesn't matter. So if the audience doesn't care, and the movie is establishing they can't answer it because it doesn't even matter if they do, then why even bother with a bullshit explanation? If the audience doesn't care that they were able to breathe and the movie doesn't answer it and the audience doesn't care that they weren't able to answer it, then if Hank had asked Janet, why does it look different? You could have had Janet go, I don't know, because guess what? The brain dead audience that loves this movie, guess what? They don't care. They don't care. So why did you even bother? It's just so ridiculous because it's whatever. What else? The telepath and the goop. Okay. If you have a telepath, because the rebels have a telepath, and the idea was they didn't know if Scott was a spy. Why they would think Scott was a spy is, I don't know, but whatever. So why did they need to have Scott drink the goo to be able to speak to them when they have a telepath that could have already checked? Just capture him, have the telepath read his mind, and go, yeah, okay, he doesn't know anything. You can go. So why even bother giving him the goo to be able to talk to him? Because, not to mention, they ask him, are you a spy? And Casey goes, he's not a spy, he's my dad. And the rebels go, oh, okay, that's it. That's good enough for us. Here's an idea. Why don't you ask the telepath if Scott is a spy? Maybe that would be better. But it's like, no, let's give him the goop so that we can ask him. So let's give the spy the goop so that we can communicate with him and that he can understand us. So we can ask him if he's a spy and hopefully he'll tell us the truth. Considering the movie actually has a scene where you have the telepath just looking at Casey and Scott, not asking them any questions, just standing there looking at them, reading their mind, and the telepath goes, yeah, they don't know anything about anything. So the movie establishes that the telepath can fully read their minds without asking them any questions to see if they're lying or anything. Hence, there's literally no reason to give Casey and Scott the goop. Not only that, so Scott gets captured and gets brought to, the rebels, and there's that really, spooky, eerie scene where there's the campfire and they're all chanting, and it's supposed to be this ominous scene, and then you see Casey going, drink the goop, and it's like, okay, Casey, why not also go, drink the goop, Dad? And if you drink the goop, you'll be able to understand the aliens. Like, why doesn't Cassie go, Dad, drink the goop, and explain why he should drink the goop? But no, apparently for some dumbass reason, Cassie doesn't explain to her father why you should drink the goop because the movie wanted to have a bullshit, forced, ominous scene. It's just, that's the movie. There's literally no explanation or justification for anything. Well, when the Janet, Hope, and Scott, when Janet fights that one guy in the middle of the desert, right? It's like, okay, why does fighting him and beating and winning, why does that allow them, safe passage? Does the movie explain why fighting the guy and beating him suddenly allows them to have passage? No. Does the movie explain why being able to fight him and beat him allows them to be able to take one of their ships? No. So it's like, why are you bothering explaining anything? If the movie's establishing we have no goddamn explanation for 90% or 95% of what's happening in this movie, why are you bothering establishing bullshit stupid for the other 5%? It just, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. It's like with Modoc, Scott goes, how were you alive? He asks Modoc, how were you alive? What's Modoc's answer? I became the ultimate weapon. Excuse me, that's not the answer to the question. Because guess what? The movie has no way of explaining or justifying why Darren Cross is still alive. They don't know. The movie wanted Darren Cross as Modoc, so the movie had Darren Cross as Modoc. They had no justification. It's like, I forget, what was it? Infinity War Endgame, where the Red Skull is a guardian of one of the Infinity Stones. How the hell did the Red Skull become a guardian of one of the Infinity Stones? I don't know. Neither does the movie. And neither did any of you fans watching the movie realize that it doesn't make any sense for Red Skull to have been one of the guardians of the Infinity Stones. It doesn't make any sense for Darren Cross to be Modoc, but you guys don't care because you're idiots. Speaking of Modoc, how did Modoc becomes good? Modoc changes sides. How does the movie get Modoc to change sides? Because Cassie goes to Modoc, stop being a dick, and Modoc goes, oh, okay, I guess I'll just stop being a dick, and then fights Kang. I'm sure there's other examples I could bring up. It's just that I pretty much blanked out halfway through this movie because I just stopped giving a rat's ass. I stopped caring. I made a Twitter comment. I got 15 minutes into the movie and I went, either shoot me or give me a frontal lobotomy so I can have the mentality to make it through this movie. Oddly enough, just going through this movie was the equivalent of a frontal lobotomy because I just I got halfway through this movie. I'm like, I don't give a shit anymore. I really don't. What was the other thing? There was another thing. Okay. Yes, at the end of the movie, Kang loses to ants. And again, it's stupid or whatever. But here's the thing about this that was really funny to me. Is that after the ants take out Kang, right? He's being dragged away or whatever. And then Cassie, Scott, and Hank, they end up fixing the device and they end up opening up a portal. And they all go in except Scott. When all of a sudden, Kang suddenly appears in the room with Scott and they end up fighting, fist fighting. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Kang can teleport? Kang can teleport. Well, if Kang can teleport, why didn't he teleport when the ants were swarming his protective dome? The reason we thought that Kang was taken out by the ants was because he didn't have a method of escape. But apparently he does have a method of escape, but didn't think to use it when the ants were swarming and taking down his shield of protection. Is because the movie needed to have Kang be in the room when they created the gate so that, you could have Kang try to escape. but they didn't know how to actually get Kang to get to the room, so they just made him be able to teleport, forgetting the fact that they, overlooking the fact that you've just given Kang the ability to teleport, which meant he could have teleported while he was being swarmed by the ants, but apparently didn't think that was a good idea. And why did he need, like, he goes, I'm bringing my empire, I'm going to take my entire empire with me. Why? What do you need the empire for? You're Kang the Conqueror. When you got stranded 30 years ago and it was just you and Janet, all you wanted was to fix that, that orb thing, fix your ship, and then leave. You didn't need or even want an empire before you even left, because guess what? You don't need, you're Kang the Conqueror. You don't need an empire. You create one. But apparently the movie needed to have a dumbass justification to have a big fight scene. And I like Cassie gets to control. Okay. So Kang is addressing his empire, the citizens of Chronopolis. And he's doing this by projecting this huge hologram of himself and projecting his voice so that everybody in the city can, see him and hear him. But for some reason, because the movie wanted her to, not only was Cassie able to take over the controls of, the holographic image and the the sound system. Here's what killed me. Now, Kang's holographic image is pretty much in the center of Chronopolis. But when Cassie takes over, she doesn't project her image on where in the center of Chronopolis. No. Somehow she gets it that her holographic image is projected outside the city where the rebel camp is, so that the rebels can see and hear the holographic image. And it's like, how does that work, movie? Did any of you by chance realize or notice that Cassie caused her holographic image and projection to appear outside of the city at the rebel base so that they could see and hear? Any of you notice that? Any of you have a problem with that? No, apparently not, because apparently you don't give a rat's ass. It's just... Like I said, I'm sure there's a dozen other examples I can think of, but it's like, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. And to be quite honest, I don't care anymore. I think I've covered enough of the overarching bullshit stupid that is necessary for Quantumania to actually even exist. But yeah, I'm done. I do wanna give kudos to, I believe it's Jonathan Majors. I apologize if I got the name wrong, but the actor who played Kang, he killed it. He definitely, unfortunately, he was in a dumbass, MCU movie. I mean, he was great. The plot was stupid. The story was stupid. The premise was stupid. The movie was full of stupid, but he elevated this movie beyond what it should have, because he really did a great job. So I want, as much as I didn't like this movie, as much as this movie is a brain dead piece of shit stupid, Jonathan Majors deserves, as far as I'm concerned, he did a better job as Kang than he did as the one who shall not be named in the Loki show. So as bad as this movie is, I do want to give Jonathan Majors the credit he deserves for making this movie more than it deserved to be, and it's basically because of him. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I probably will, 20 minutes from now, but whatever. I don't care anymore. Yeah, that's it for me. You know what the funny thing is? I didn't even know this movie was out. I had to be told. That's how I cared so little about this damn movie that I had to be told, hey, when is there going to be a review? The movie's out. And it's like, oh, really? The movie's out? I guess I'll have to go watch it now. Yeah, I didn't even care about this movie. I had so little interest. Yeah, I can't think of anything else, and I'm getting into rambling territory, so I'm out of here. See ya.